This election cycle, I'm thinking a lot about reproductive rights. Everyone's right to plan when they want to have a family. And it's on my mind because I'm literally about to have a baby. Like, in a minute. To be able to decide exactly how and when and why and where I want to have a baby.
Hello, this is Gen Z once again here to present you with some arguments regarding the topic very eloquently worded from Miss Olivia Wilde. The topic today is on abortion. So what governs us as a modern society? Are we of the belief that the collective good of a group would necessarily trump the rights of an individual? Or are we of the belief that the rights of the individual, as the smallest minority in society, would guarantee a greater form of liberty for each and every one? If we look to the individual as being equal to any other living human, then we would assume that they would have these same basic rights of life, liberty, and security of person under Article 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations. Under Article 1 of the Declaration, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. How can a human being be considered as human in utero if they have not been born yet? This is one part of our discussion today. Is the life inside of the womb considered human? And if so, do the same rights apply to them? So first, we need to know what defines human life. Currently, this is a form of contention in the political and social community. But due to advances in medical science and biology, we now have evidence to prove what is defined as human and life. According to various biologists in the scientific community, life begins at fertilization, or the formation of the one-celled zygote. Also, according to the National Health and Medical Research Council of the Australian Government 2006 study, a life would be termed as human embryo at the 3-day mark of the fertilization of the egg into a human embryo. The first mitotic division, when fertilization of a human oocyte by a human sperm is complete, or any other process that initiates organized development of a biological entity, with a human nuclear genome or altered human nuclear genome that has the potential to develop up to, or beyond, the stage at which the primitive streak appears. So what is mitosis? Mitosis is when the cells duplicate from one cell into a multicellular organism. Alright, so when does a new life perform mitosis? Usually 3 days after fertilization of the egg. When does a female usually find that she's pregnant? Well, according to a quick WebMD search, it can occur anywhere from 6 to 12 days after the egg has been fertilized. So we already know that life is considered human around the 3-day mark. Therefore, when a woman finds she's pregnant, that embryo is already considered as human. Now that we've identified when the zygote becomes a multi-celled organism, and the point when it is considered human life, let's take a look at the arguments that can arise from such distinctions. Cancer cells can't be considered human because it does not exist as a person as a whole as an embryo does. Well, cancer cells exist only as part of the entire human organism, and therefore is not considered human. What about the human genome? Once again, the sperm and the egg by themselves are part of what makes an individual human being. But when fertilization of an egg occurs, the zygote is unique from its mother and father in that it is its own individual life with its own human DNA, unique from both its parents. Because science has proven the matter of life at fertilization and to be human at mitosis on the 3rd day of fertilization, is this not cause for that individual human to have a right to life? If some argue for the individual to have rights over the collective group, would this not also apply to the unborn individual? Let's look at the viability argument from the proponents of the left. The term viability is used as a major factor in determining whether the unborn have a right to life. The 1973 Roe v. Wade case was a landmark decision by the United States Supreme Court over the issue of abortion. The ruling decided that the 14th Amendment was extended to a woman's decision to have an abortion in certain circumstances. The rights protected for the woman was to be balanced between the state regulating a woman's right to her own body, of her health, and the potentiality of human life. From this decision came the limiting of abortion to the third trimester, about 6 or 7 months into the pregnancy. Later, in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, 1992, the court rejected the trimester framework to a woman having the right to an abortion until fetal viability. So, this brings back the question, what is viability? The ability of a fetus to survive outside the uterus. The viability argument has become a point of dissension between those that argue against the viability logic. With such logic, even a 1-year-old outside of the womb would not fall under this category as viable, because they wouldn't be able to survive on their own without care and support. Because of this, the viability argument is invalidated by its own logical fallacy. The viability argument itself is already an attempt to justify killing a human being. Since the new life is already deemed human once it undergoes mitosis scientifically, the viability argument is irrelevant. So, due to the reasoning explained in the video, I believe that rights to life should be extended to the unborn child at any trimester, as there is already scientific proof that the life is human after 3 days of gestation, and therefore, this should extend to the UN Human Rights Council to use updated scientific evidence to consider a new article or revision to the articles of the current document. This is the first video in a 2-part series on abortion. The next video will focus on possible theological perspectives as well as alternatives to Planned Parenthood, and how the private sector could be used instead of subsidies to Planned Parenthood in the public sector as solutions to hardships for pregnant women. So once again, thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. Also, please leave a comment if you liked or disliked anything about the video. I enjoy constructive criticism. So please follow me on Twitter, and we'll be getting the Facebook and Instagram for the channel up soon. Thanks again.